And welcome to the 6:15. I'm Kejang Henry Atembe in Douala. Let's begin with our top stories. Consternation in Goila, that is a neighborhood in Kribi where the lifeless body of a 68-year-old man was discovered in an abandoned building. Reports say municipal authorities have buried the deceased. And as Cameroon observed Customs Week, authorities are raising alarm over the growing influx of contraband goods across the country, from black market to major trade hubs. Illegal products continue to intervene the economy or to undermine the economy, and despite intensified efforts by the Customs Administration to dismantle smuggling networks. And Cameroon's National Gendarmerie is setting up a new tune for 2026, with the Secretary of State in charge of the National Gendarmerie calling for professionalism, discipline, and respect for human rights. Top stories. On our respective platforms on Canal International, we begin from the South region, precisely in Kribi, where it was shock and sadness in Goye. That is a neighborhood in Kribi too, where the lifeless body of a 68-year-old man was found in an abandoned building. Far away from his family, the deceased died, and it is reported that he was buried by municipal authorities. Morinti with the details.
These are the last moments of the 68-year-old man. He was buried on Monday, January 26, 2026, following instructions from the hygiene services of the Kribi City Council. According to officials, the burial was carried out after medical and administrative procedures were completed. Earlier, the lifeless body of Zianle Honga Yao Laurent, a Beninese national, was discovered Sunday night around 10 p.m. in an abandoned house at Ngoye Azami neighborhood, Bakoko Junction in Kribi 2 subdivision. The discovery was made by neighbors. The deceased, who lived alone without a wife or children, was physically disabled with an amputated leg and survives in difficult conditions. Formerly a maritime fisherman, he was reportedly assisted by his neighbor, Chinda Fidel, a trained carpenter. Authorities later arrived at the scene, conducted preliminary investigations, and handed the body over to the city hygiene service for burial, according to Atsuba, head of hygiene service at the Kribi City Council. This incident has once again highlighted the precarious living conditions of vulnerable persons in urban cities. Local residents are calling for greater social support and closer monitoring of abandoned individuals to prevent similar tragedies.
Thanks very much, Morindi. And as Cameroon observes the Customs Week, authorities are raising alarm on the growing influx of contraband goods in the country, from black market to major street hubs. Illegal products continue to undermine the economy of the country, despite intensified efforts by the Customs Administration to clamp down on illegal or dismantling networks or smuggling networks across the country. Once more, Maureen.
For a long time, the infiltration of contraband goods has been a growing phenomenon in Cameroon. This problem is visible across almost all sectors of the economy, particularly in local markets and black markets where illegal goods circulate freely. One of the major factors contributing to this situation is the porosity of the country's borders, which makes it easier for smugglers to move illegal products into the country.
You produce something without authorization from the person who has intellectual property rights to it, there is counterfeit. The element that comes into play is the material element. That's the palpable good we have that is crossing the border, either entering or exiting. We inspect it, and we work in line with the owner of the intellectual right. He should be the one, he or she, or the company, they are the ones to inform us that this product, this is our product. We did put their intellectual property rights document.
Another major challenge faced by custom officers is the tactics used by smugglers to evade control checks at airports, seaports, and land borders. These traffickers often exploit weaknesses in surveillance systems, use false documentation, or conceal goods in sophisticated ways that make detection difficult. In an era of rapidly evolving technology, Cameroon customs authorities say they have multiplied strategies to combat the phenomenon.
9 of January 2026, during that night, the mobile brigade seized 982,000 of pills.
Customs have been sensitized, customs have received training. The second thing is that the control measures at the borders have been tightened.
Most counterfeits and smuggled goods closely resemble genuine products, and their lower prices often attract unsuspecting consumers.
If you look at the notices and the labels keenly, there is always something there's always a mistake.
According to custom officials, the effects of contraband trade on the national economy are enormous. It leads to significant losses in government revenue, weakens local industries, encourages unfair competition, and threatens public health and safety.
Maureen reporting there, and Cameroon's transport sector is gearing up for a major transformation in the year 2026. And of course, there are ambitious projects to make sure aim at boosting rail as well as air and maritime connectivity. Beatrice Ngamo is reporting that the plans are underway for a world-class airport in the country and an expansion of rail connectivity.
Family come together, grouping all stakeholders in the transport sector here in Cameroon, January 26 in Yaoundé. Time to look back at 2025 and strategize for the new year. New vision to make the sector more satisfactory. Taking the floor, the Secretary General at that ministry used the opportunity to present a performance review that highlighted consolidated achievements and challenges to overcome. 459,299 transport tickets were produced, generating revenue of 7,135,250,850 francs, compared to an average of 1.5 billion CFA francs in previous years. In return, the Minister of Transport, Jean-Enes Masena Ngale-Bibehe, praised the results achieved last year as sign of confidence.
Show in the accomplishment of your respective missions. The confidence bestowed on you all by the head of state is eloquent proof and needs to be greatly mentioned. However, I must insist on the fact that this confidence commits and obliges.
He outlined strategic directions for the road, rail, and maritime subsectors.
I require each of you to be more rigorous and institutionally loyal. In return, I would like to assure you of the full support and constant availability of the Ministry of Transport.
The government official expressed a strong desire for the transport sector to reach new heights. The event then moved into the traditional exchange of New Year wishes. Handshakes were shared among close collaborators as well as officials from the central and decentralized services. All the key players in the transport sector took part in this warm and friendly atmosphere, spiced by artistic performance, adding sounds to the already colorful day.
Thanks, Beatrice Ngamo. We stay in Yaoundé, where with the politically sensitive year ahead in 2026, Cameroon's National Gendarmerie is already setting a firm tone for the year 2026, with the Secretary of State in charge of the National Gendarmerie calling on his collaborators to exercise professionalism, discipline, and respect for human rights as Cameroon is gearing up for crucial municipal and legislative elections. Hyacinth Chair says it was during an arms ceremony.
Tributes of the National Gendarmerie family to colleagues that have lost their lives in the line of duty in 2025. The special arms ceremony at SED in Yaoundé this January 27 is an occasion for the Secretary of State at the Presidency in charge of the National Gendarmerie, Galaxy Toga, to address the forces of law and order on the 2026 roadmap, laying a cap on professionalism.
La ligne de conduite qui va guider l'action de la gendarmerie est claire.
The roadmap is clear as defined by the head of state. Fight against all forms of threats in the country. Fight against the non-respect of the law, which is becoming recurrent. You have to ensure rigor and commitment. Implement all legal measures to ensure.
Pour que force reste à la loi.
While lauding the efforts of the gendarmerie elements in the maintenance of public order in the 2025 presidential and regional elections, Galaxy Toka reminds them of the upcoming municipal and legislative elections, calling for duty consciousness.
Cette année,
this year you have the duty to ensure that the legislative and municipal elections unfold hitch-free. You must be ready to intervene promptly and stop any sort of disorder.
Pour faire échec à toute tentative de remise en cause de l'ordre public.
While shaking hands with the elements of law and order, he warns against any forms of gendarmerie atrocities, promising perpetrators heavy sanctions.
Thanks, Hyacinth. 13 years after its launch, the Njombe-Penja Municipal Housing Project or estate remains unfinished, and of course, which is now at the center of political discourse. With the project stalled at 81% completion, a proposal to sell that estate has actually generated heat and divided council authorities. Morindi reports.
Along the National Road number 5 in the locality of Njombe stands the municipal housing estate occupying a 1-hectare site. Initiated in 2013, the project aimed to address the growing housing shortage in Njombe-Penja municipality. However, more than a decade later, the objective remains unmet. Several municipal administrations have succeeded one another, yet the project's execution rate remains stuck at 81%, leaving the infrastructure unfinished. We'll take a flashback. We linked this project to an SDF mayor in 2013. He genuinely launched the project and identified the site dedicated to the municipal estate. However, it took time before Mayor Paul Eric Kinge came in 2020 to truly launch this gigantic project, which in the Njombe Municipal Estate. During the Municipal Council session held on January 14, 2026, the proposal to sell the housing estate triggered heated debates led by strong opposition from the Commission for Major Works. We are discussing with the population. I believe this project needs to be pushed forward, but we must take the time to better explain it to the population before continuing. Despite the controversy and strong objections raised, the council's deliberation eventually gave the municipal executive the green light to proceed. Practice over the years, forcing the council to terminate municipal contracts due to repeated non-performance.
Il faut déjà constater la carence de l'entreprise.
The municipal council meeting of January 14, held during the 2026 budgetary council session, gave authorization to the mayor to proceed with the sale of the municipal estate in accordance with the required procedures. This does not mean that the estate is being put directly for sale. Initiated with financial support from FECOM and Credit Foncier, the Njombe-Penja Municipal Housing Estate is today viewed by elected officials as a never-ending project, a classic sea serpent.
Thanks, Maureen Dian. In a society where success is often measured by white-collar jobs One woman is actually rewriting the script at 29. Martha Nyope, who is a master's degree holder in biochemistry, is actually turning her passion into purpose through the making of handmade shoes. Sherifa Saleh went fishing for Martha.
At first glance, the shoes could easily be mistaken for imported fashion items, but these products are entirely handmade in Cameroon by a young entrepreneur determined to build a future rooted in local production.
Kemi shoes exist since 2022. My dad had other plans for me, but I had to do what I dreamed of. Since I loved shoes, I watched and learned on online videos. That's how I started with this business.
Martin Yobe, a 29-year-old master's degree holder in biochemistry, has chosen an unconventional path. Instead of pursuing a career in a laboratory, she has transformed her passion for craftsmanship into a business that promotes local manufacturing and self-reliance. Her small enterprise, run by a 3-person team, already operates with a structured division of labor, allowing each worker to specialize in different stages of production.
I have never regretted me working with her. We have been working together since 2022 till now 2026, and we are still planning for something more bigger. When we have seen how they are wearing shoes and the gum is coming out, it's paying us a lot. That's why we are trying our best to occupy some of the space of shipping shoes in our country.
J'ai trouvé en Québec Shoes un grand projet, une grande œuvre, et je me suis dit, voilà, pourquoi pas ne pas rejoindre l'équipe.
The business, however, faces significant challenges. Sourcing raw materials remains one of the biggest obstacles.
My main difficulty is to get raw materials, which is very complicated. I import raw materials from abroad, which I do online.
Despite these constraints, her handmade shoes are gaining attention. Prices vary depending on quality and design, starting from 4,500 CFA francs.
My dream is to own a big factory where I can evenly distribute my products locally.
In a country where imported goods dominate many markets, her story reflects a growing movement of young African entrepreneurs who are redefining local industry.
Thanks very much, Sherifa Saleh, drawing the cuttings. Congratulations to Nyope. And that brings us to the end of this week's 15. I've been Kejang Henry Atembe. We are expecting Lee Piju in the couple of seconds with Lady Brief the L'actualité. Goodbye.